This video is for all the girls who have wondered at one point in their life if they're ever going to be happy and content with how they look. If you've ever felt defeated trying to love yourself and feel like it's an endless battle that you can never ever win, this video is for you. And if you also felt like plastic surgery, getting that nose job, getting that lip filler, getting whatever it is gonna solve all your problems, then this video is for you. I promise you it's possible to love yourself as you are right now, because if I can love myself with an actual physical deformity, I have scoliosis, I promise you it's possible for you. I didn't change my body, I changed my mind, and my life changed. And yours can too, I promise you. The point of this video is not to throw shade on anyone who's gotten any form of plastic surgery. The point of this video is to show you that it's possible to love yourself wholeheartedly without having to do any of that stuff. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Maryam, and I'm an older sister to all of you girlies who did not grow up with an older sister. I am making this video for you to feel loved, held, comforted, understood, and heard, because I get way too many comments about how to actually love yourself. It breaks my heart, some of the things you guys tell me, and I honestly feel like as your virtual older sister, as your virtual older brown sis, I need to address this. On this channel, we also talk about things like fashion, lifestyle, self-love of course, and also South Asian culture. So if that sounds like a bit of you, make sure to go ahead and click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on future uploads. In this video, you're gonna learn how to rewire your self-image and fall in love with yourself as you are right now. So if you do watch until the very end of today's video, make sure to drop this emoji in the comments down below so I know you have. In part one, we're going to talk about self-love as a feeling versus self-love as an action. To explain this topic to you guys, I'm going to give you a personal example. It's about my scoliosis journey. I'm going to use my personal example to show you guys how we can differ between self-love as a feeling versus self-love as an action, and how doing this will literally transform your life. So to give you a bit of a backstory, I was diagnosed with scoliosis at the age of 18, and it really messed with my self-image, my self-perception, my overall confidence level. I used to feel so uncomfortable in my body. Even sitting down on a chair, I could feel the discomfort in my back, the unevenness in my back. I didn't like how clothes looked on me, and there were times where I would genuinely just cry because I didn't know how to get out of it. I felt like I was a prisoner in my body, and I wouldn't really tell anyone around me because no one around me would be able to understand, because no one around me had anything like that. I felt very much alone in that regard. It was something I dealt with by myself, and I tried to get to a point where I didn't hate or despise my body, how it felt, how it looked, because when you have scoliosis, you have an unevenness in your shoulder blades, you have an unevenness in the way your waist looks. And I did later on go for a bit of physical therapy, and it did help me, but even after that, I was obsessed with like my measurements, my numbers, how my back curve would change, etc, etc. So long story short, I just felt like there was no way out, and there was no way to actually love myself. I genuinely did not understand how I was supposed to like live the rest of my life with scoliosis, with my back looking like that. Like, it just didn't make sense to me at all. So if you're at a spot in your life where you feel stuck, whatever it is you're dealing with, whether it's any part of your face, your body, if you feel like there's no way out, trust me, there is, because I've been there. I've been where you are right now, and I promise you it gets better. And here's how we do it. So what I did was I was trying to love myself by just telling myself I love my spine, I love how I look, and those words did make some of a difference. However, my self-love in terms of actions wasn't there. I was verbally saying that I love my spine and I love how I look and I want to accept myself, but my actions were the opposite. My actions were of a person who did not love her spine, even though I was verbally saying that I do. There was a disconnect over there, and that's something we call cognitive dissonance. It's when you have certain thoughts, you want to do something, but your reality does not reflect that, and it leaves you feeling disconnected essentially. I got a piece of paper, I wrote down how I was feeling in the moment, raw, fully vulnerable, very descriptive, and I want you to do the same. I want you to get a piece of paper in a column, write down how you're feeling right now, how you feel about yourself right now, the thoughts you were having in this moment, and then I want you to write in your second column how your ideal self, your dream girl version of yourself, picture her in your mind. What does her thoughts sound like? What do her actions look like? What does she do on a day-to-day basis? How does she talk to herself? How does her morning routine look like? Write it down and be super descriptive. And now once you have both of your lists, Now it's time to compare and contrast. Wherever you find the gap is where you have to start. See, the problem that I was having, the mistake that I was making might be also the mistake you are making too. I was having self-love as a feeling. I was present, me saying that I love my spine, I love my body, how it is, but my actions weren't adding up. I wasn't dressing in the way I would dress if I loved my body. I wasn't actually going to the places I would go if I loved my body. I wasn't working out in the way I would if I loved my body. It was done from a place of shame. It was done from a place of toxicity, like you have to do this not because you love yourself. It was from a very different place. So that's where the disconnect was. So what I want you to do and what I want you to remember is that when you do start your self-love journey and when you do start with the words, make sure your actions line up to it, because if it doesn't, you will feel a discomfort. Also, when you do start to talk to yourself kindly, at first it's going to feel so performative, it's going to feel so fake and so uncomfortable, and that's how you know it's working. Do you know why? Because growth is not comfortable. Growth is supposed to feel so uncomfortable. It's supposed to almost make you feel icky, like you don't want to do it, because our brains are wired to take the path with least resistance. So when you go through a path of growth, it's going to have so much resistance. You're going to have to fight through it. But on day 1 compared to day 7 or 17, there is going to be a difference. It's going to be easier to tell yourself you love yourself, and it's going to be easier to believe that when your actions line up with that. The problem comes, and the problem that you probably have faced in the past, is when you do your affirmations but your actions don't line up. The disconnect when your actions don't line up to your words is felt because your brain isn't stupid. Your brain knows. But if your brain sees that your actions are lining up with your words, your identity changes. Quite literally, you go from who you are today to your dream girl version of yourself the more you align your thoughts and your actions with her. Because becoming a new identity is just a sum and series of actions, thoughts, and beliefs. Second chapter is about our media diet. I'm going to use my example again. When I was diagnosed with a physical deformity, I honestly wanted to feel not alone. That was my main focus. I didn't want to feel alone. I wanted to look for creators out there who also not necessarily had scoliosis, that made me feel like I wasn't alone in this, in this self-love journey. And that's when I found one of my favorite influencers, Whitney Simmons. She struggles with psoriasis, and she's so brave and beautiful and outspoken about it. She talks about her journey in such a beautiful and vulnerable way. It made me feel like I wasn't alone. Believe it or not, you are in control with what you consume when it comes to the media to a certain degree. A big percentage of that is what you control, and there is a certain percentage that we cannot control, but the majority is in your hands. You can control the kinds of things you consume. If you're going to watch shows like, for example, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where they use so many airbrush filters. I say that because the camera I'm using right now has a feature of airbrushing my face, which honestly makes me look crazy. I will never ever use that because I, as a creator, have a duty of care to my viewers, and I'm never going to distort your view of what creators look like. And so my point being is that stop consuming shows, movies, TV shows, etc. that will distort your image, your perception of beauty. Especially now when you're going through a phase where you're trying to love yourself more, it's only going to damage your self-perception, because what you consume, whether you like it or not, that will be the norm in your mind, whether you like it or not. Because what you consume will impact your thoughts will impact your feelings will impact your actions. This is a fact. It all adds up. And also, the ideal body has been changing for the last 100 years. We've had phases like in the 20s when the boyish figure was in, flat-chested figure, slim and slender. And in the 30s, we had the soft glamour figure where we had softer curves. And in the 50s, we had the hourglass figure thanks to Marilyn Monroe. And in the 80s, we had the fitness supermodel kind of vibe. These are only a few examples to show you guys how our ideal body has been changing over the years. Even now, slim fit and more of a slender physique is in compared to before, where it was that BBL vibe. Essentially, all these trends cancel each other out, and none of it makes any sense because none of it holds weight. It keeps changing. And I promise you, once you start loving yourself, once you start valuing your body, these trends will start to give you the ick and start to, rub you the wrong way, because you'll feel like your body is worth so much more than what the media or what people find attractive. Like, why does it matter? It shouldn't have to matter. Let's do a quick exercise. I want you to shout your name in your mind 3 times. And once you do that, I want you to whisper your name in your mind. And now that exercise was to show you that you are in control of your thoughts. That means you can indeed control the thoughts you're having about yourself and the thoughts you're having about your body, your face, etc., etc. You can control it, and that's the good news. And now let's talk about why I will never get plastic surgery and why I don't think you should either. And before we talk about this, I want to first say that I have nothing against girls who get plastic surgery. I do not think that I am better than them or they're better than me. So my whole point of making this section in this video is to talk to you guys about the possibilities that exists. Because let me be clear, I find so much peace in knowing that I am an intentional creation of a perfect being, and you are too. You were intentionally created by the best artist ever, by the perfect being. No matter what your religion is, no matter what your faith is, this applies to you. And instead of focusing on plastic surgery and what the needle can do for you, it's way more rewarding and it's way more of a beautiful feeling to work on your body and be the best version of yourself. I know I have a curved spine, so certain things will be harder for me to do in terms of exercises or in terms of how I look. There are going to be certain things that are just going to look different on me, and I've accepted that. I don't want to change it. I just want to be the best version of myself. I'm not comparing myself to another girl because it's me versus me. It's me versus the old me, and it's the same case for you. It's you versus you and you versus the older you. And if for any reason you feel like you are better than someone else because they have plastic surgery and you don't, that's an issue, because if you really and truly work on self-love in the right and healthy way, you shouldn't be comparing yourself in the first place, and you shouldn't be feeling a sense of superiority, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. Even if someone gets plastic surgery, it doesn't define them. It's part of them. So you shouldn't use that to pin yourself against them. And now I want you to know that the way you look, that is the least interesting thing about yourself. The way you look is the least interesting thing about yourself. The way you walk into a room and light it up, the way you show up for your friends when they're going through a hard time, the way you show up for your friends when it's their birthdays, the surprises you do for them, the birthday presents you buy for them, the thought you put behind it, so many other things matter so much more than the way you look. But in today's day and age, with social media, with how things are made to feel and seem that, you know, your looks matter more than anything, a glow up is all about your looks, etc., etc., etc. Well, this is your reality check that your looks aren't everything, because you're not really in control with, like, you know, what race you're born into, how you look to an extent. I mean, you're not really in control of that. What you are in control of are the books you read, the way you treat people, your emotional intelligence level, the way you show up for yourself, your friends, your family. That's actually what you are in control of. That's actually what's interesting about you, not the way you look. So if you're around people whom you feel like judge you for the way you look more than these other things, that might be a sign for you that you're not around the best group of people for yourself. And now let's talk about abundance mindset. Have you ever noticed that the prettiest girls, the girls who are gorgeous, are the ones who compliment others the most? I've noticed that myself, because girls who really and truly love themselves, for them, they're just so full of love. They're just so whole and happy on the inside that there is no room for comparison or jealousy, because their cup is that full. They've filled up their cup with so much love, so much self-acceptance, that there just isn't any room in their cup. So when you are on your self-love journey and you feel like you've gotten to a point where you just love to give your energy to others, you love to uplift them, you love to compliment them, that's a great sign, because the best girls, the it girls, the girls who are actually on their self-love journey know that a candle never loses its flame when it lights another candle. Have you ever used one candle to light, like, I don't know, 10 others at one point in your life, and you've noticed that the candle you're using to light other candles doesn't lose its flame? The same thing for you. When you're full of love, full of self-love, your heart is so open, you have such an abundant energy that you just give and give and give, and you never run out, because that's what abundant means. When you feel great about yourself, people around you feel great about themselves too. A girl who's actually in love with herself and who is confident doesn't walk into a room and size herself up next to other people. She walks into her room knowing that she's an it girl and everyone else in there is an it girl too, in their own way. And that's the thing, the media for some reason has this thought into women's mind that we have to compare ourselves and be better than other women in the room, when actually we don't. We have to be abundant with our energy. And now I want to finish with a very interesting topic. Have you ever noticed that some girls have an idea about this one girl where they think, oh, she's not even that pretty. Why do people like her? Why does she get so much attention? Why does she act like that? Have you ever had those thoughts about a certain girl whom you find average looking for whatever reason? If you ever had those thoughts, that is proof that she is living her life like she is the main character and everyone around her is responding to it. And that is an example for you to use for yourself. Once you start living like you are the main character, kind, humble, in love with yourself, uplifting others, being abundant with your energy, once you start acting like that, and once you start genuinely aligning your thoughts, your good thoughts with your actions, I promise you, your life will become like that. You will be that girl that everyone talks about, like, oh wow, her life is just going so well, she's always attracting so much goodness, so much abundance. And why is that? It's because your thoughts and your actions are in line with your dream girl version of yourself. And so why won't the world respond to that? They will. That's just how the world works. If you've watched until the very end of the video, comment below this heart emoji. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I want you to leave this video remembering that you are an intentional creation of a perfect being. There is nothing wrong with the way you look. You actually follow everything I mentioned in this video, clean up your media diet, actually work on the 2 lists that I talked about, and everything else in this video, I promise you, your life will change. And you can start today, right now, after this video. Go ahead and get your notebooks out and let's get started. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.